In this video, we're going to introduce aggregate demand and explain why aggregate demand curve slopes downward from left to right. Now, aggregate demand, or AD, is the total planned expenditure on domestically produced goods and services in an economy at a given price level. We can write it as AD equals consumption expenditure plus investment expenditure plus government spending plus export minus imports. We subtract imports because imports are spending on goods and services produced overseas rather than output produced within our geographical boundary. On an aggregate demand curve diagram, the vertical axis shows general price level, while the horizontal axis shows real national output, or real GDP. The aggregate demand curve slopes downward from left to right, and this tells us that, other things being equal, a lower price level is associated with a higher quantity of real output demanded. And there are three main reasons for this: the wealth effect, the savings and interest rate effect, and the international trade effect. Now, let's begin with the wealth effect. Imagine that a household has 10,000 pounds in savings. Suppose the general price level increases significantly and the household still has 10,000 pounds, but that money can now purchase fewer goods and services. The nominal value of this saving has not changed, but their real purchasing power has fallen. The household therefore feels less wealthy, and this may cause the household to reduce consumption, especially spending on non-essential items such as holiday travels, furniture, or a new car. So the logical chain is a higher price level reduces the real value of household wealth and their real purchasing power. They're going to consume less, and this gives rise to lower quantity of real output demanded. Therefore, a higher price level corresponds with a fewer quantity of output demanded. And the reverse can happen when the price level falls. Now, let's come to the savings and interest rate effect. Now suppose that the general price level has fallen, and households and firms need less money to pay for their everyday transactions. For example, if the average shopping basket becomes cheaper, households do not need to keep as much money available in their current account. They may therefore place more money into their savings account or other financial assets. And this increases the supply of loanable funds being made available to banks and financial institutions. With more funds available to lend, interest rates may fall, and the lower interest rate reduces the cost of borrowing. For households, this may increase their consumption financed through credit, such as spending on cars, appliances, or housing. And for firms, lower interest rates reduce the cost of borrowing for investment projects. A firm may now decide that purchasing new machinery, equipment, or opening a new factory is financially worthwhile. So the logical chain is a lower price level means less money is needed for a transaction, and more funds are being made available for saving. The greater supply of loanable funds results in lower interest rate, which induces higher consumption and investment, and therefore greater quantity of real output demanded. And the reverse can also occur when the price level rises. Well, the final reason concerns the price of domestic goods relative to foreign goods. Suppose that the UK price level falls, while price levels in other countries remain unchanged. UK goods now become relatively cheaper. Foreign consumers may now find UK exports more attractive, so demand for UK exports will rise. At the same time, UK consumers may find foreign goods relatively more expensive compared with locally produced alternatives, so demand for imports may therefore fall. As exports rise and imports fall, net exports will increase. Remember, net exports equals exports minus import. So the overall logical chain is a lower domestic price level means domestic goods are becoming more internationally competitive. This will lead to rising exports and falling imports. As a result, net export component of aggregate demand increases, greater quantity of real output are now demanded. The reverse can also happen if domestic price level rises faster than price levels abroad.